Monsters get scared of the dark too. Mike and Sally were going to have a fun night. They were monsters sitting Mike's nephew, Billy. "Now you be good," said Billy's mother as she waved goodbye. "Don't worry, Mom, I will," replied Billy. "Everything will be fine, sis," said Mike proudly. "Sally and I will take good care of the little guy." And they did. The three monsters had a blast. They watched classic movies like Night of the Living Kids and Gross Encounters of the Kids Kind, and ate lots of junk food. They played Billy's favorite games, listened to music, and battled one another in tons of video games. It got late, and that meant bedtime for Billy. "It's time for some shut-eye," said Mike with a yawn. "Lights out." But putting Billy to bed wasn't going to be that simple. Billy's mother had forgotten to tell her monster seaters something important. Billy was afraid of the dark. "Ah!" screamed Billy after Mike and Sally closed his bedroom door. "Undo, Mike!" "What is it?" shouted Mike as he and Sally ran back into the room. "There's a kid hiding in the closet," started Billy. It wants to that's me." Mike and Sally searched the room. "No kids in the closet," said Mike. "All clear under the bed," announced Sally. But Billy was still scared. Sally and Mike needed a plan. "I've got it!" exclaimed Mike. "The scrapbook!" "You're a genius, Mikey," declared Sally. The monster seaters hopped onto the beds next to Billy, and they all looked through Mike and Sally's scrapbook. It was filled with pictures of monsters, with kids' laugh reports and Boo's drawings. "See, Billy," said Mike, "human kids aren't dangerous, and they love to have fun, just like you." "And they help," added Sally. "Their laughter powers our city." "You know, Billy, sometimes human kids get scared of us," said Mike. "But once they see that we're funny and friendly, they realize there's no reason to be scared of monsters. This scrapbook shows that there's no reason for you to be scared of human kids," added Sally. "But just in case you get scared again, we'll leave it here. You can look through it to make yourself feel better." Billy fell fast asleep as his uncle watched from the doorway. "Another job? Well done, Mike," said Sally. "We're still the best team in the biz," replied Mike. The end. Feeling frightened. Something was wrong with Dio. Instead of hitting a football around the playground, leaning against a wall. When Danny got close, he could see that his best friend was actually trembling. "Are you ill?" asked Danny. "Shall I take you to the school nurse?" "Yes, please," groaned Dio. "Then I won't have to do this stupid talk in front of that class." "What's the talk about?" asked Danny. "Fast cars," said Dio. "But you know loads about them," said Danny, surprised. "What's the problem?" "I'm frightened, okay," snapped Dio. "What if I make a mistake? What if I get everything wrong? What if everyone laughs at me?" "I know," Danny said. "Why don't you practice the talk in front of me? I won't laugh if you get anything wrong. Then when you do your talk, you'll know exactly what to say." Dio shrugged. "All right," he said. So he did. When he spoke in front of the class, Dio's voice trembled at first, but his talk was great. "Phew," he says to Danny. "That was easier than I thought. I feel great now. When can I do it again?" That evening, there was a thunderstorm. Lightning flashed. Thunder boomed. After a really loud roll of thunder, Danny heard a small sob. It was his sister, Rosie. She was hiding behind the sofa, crying softly. "Hey," says Danny, crouching down beside his sister. "Do you know what thunder and lightning really is?" Rosie shook her head. "Not really," she whispered. I just know that I'm frightened and that I want the storm to stop." When ice, hail, and rain in storm clouds rub together, they make a lot of electricity. Danny says lightning is the flash that happens when the electricity jumps about. "What about thunder?" asked Rosie. "That's just the sound the lightning makes," explains Danny. "It happens afterwards because light travels much faster than sound." "It's dangerous to stand under a tree or in a big open space in a storm, but here's fine. Come on, let's watch it through the window." Right then, a zigzag of lightning missed the sky. "Wow," gasped Rosie. "That's amazing." At the weekend, Danny decided to visit his granddad, who lived in the next street. "Do you want to come?" he asked his friend. Manny's granddad has lots of sweets, he added with a wink. "But doesn't he have a daughter too?" asked Manish. Danny nodded. "He's called Barney. He's cool." "Oh," said Manish, his face falling. "Don't you like dogs?" asked Danny, puzzled. "Not really," replied Manish. "They frighten me a bit." "Some dogs can be loud and scary at first," said Danny, "but Barney's a lovely dog. He never growls and he doesn't bark much either. Actually, the worst you can expect is a good licking." "I'm still not sure," said Manish. "Come on, I'll introduce you," said Danny. Danny's granddad opens the door. "Hi, lads," he said, grinning widely. Barney stood at his feet, wagging his tail furiously. "Be warned, Manny," he said. "This is the daftest dog you will ever meet." At first, Manny stayed away from Barney, but after watching Danny play with him, he bravely tried stroking his back. "See," said Danny, "dogs aren't so bad when you get to know them." And Manny laughed as Barney licked his hand. But that night, it was Danny's turn to be frightened. He lay in bed thinking of the spooky film he'd seen that afternoon. In the film, there were monsters hiding under the bed. What if they're the monsters hiding under his bed? "Arg!" whispered Danny in a very slow voice, in case the monsters heard him. And even though moonlight shone outside, it was so dark in Danny's bedroom. Shadows of ogres and giant loomed on the wall, swaying to and fro. Danny didn't think he would ever get to sleep. Danny hid under the covers, hugging his teddy tightly. Then he began to think of Theo, Rosie, and Manish. They'd all be frightened of something like he was now. So if he could make them feel better, was there any reason he couldn't make himself feel better too? Taking a deep breath, Danny grabbed the torch on his bedside table and shone it bravely under the bed. And all he could see was a pile of board games. There wasn't a single monster. He pulled back the curtains and saw a tall tree swaying in the wind. It was making a shadow on Danny's wall. Ogres and giants. Danny smiled and switched off his torch. Now that he knew there was nothing to be frightened about, perhaps he would go to sleep after all. The end. Thank you for watching. Please click the subscribe button for more stories.